This project just blossomed as a result of the need for shellfish revitalization in the community. I've been in enforcement all my life. I'm on my 42nd year and I didn't know anything about this. But I like a challenge, and this is certainly a challenge.
Softshell clam populations are declining in Maine because of predation. Towns have been sort of reseeding flats, which means they've been placing small seed clams, which are about the width of your pinky or the size of a small grape, out under nets, just trying to sort of increase the population of clams that's available to clammers and to sort of protect them from predators to a degree.
Gouldsboro has 55 miles of shoreline. It's got enormous variety in terms of the ways that the water meets the land. There's Grand Marsh Bay, which is this enormous salt marsh. There's open ocean, and managing that really requires that you know the place.
We started this project with students working out in the mudflats for the clammers, and so they actually did research in the mudflats to help the town determine which particular mudflats might be appropriate or might be best for reseeding, for restoration efforts to keep the wild fishery going.
The program we worked with at Sumner High School is called the Pathways Program, and they're typically kids who are better at learning by doing, better being involved in a project that has a useful outcome. We did experiments that by putting essentially a flower pot into the mud with a screening over it, putting lots of them in, 36 of them in at a site, high tide, mid tide, low tide, put a dozen clams in each of those flower pots and set them out in the spring and then pull them back in the fall, and that would allow us to look at how much growth we got. And the students did all the measuring.
So you can measure from the length and the width to find out how much they've grown from the original seed clam size up to where they are now. We could figure out what exactly was killing the clams and how many had survived in each location.
I had a different project than Alex. I was researching the green crab, one of the very invasive crabs in Maine here. It helped me show the people that brought me out onto the mudflats what I actually have to help them, and schoolwork isn't the only thing that I can show you I can do.
With the data, we put it all together just in a presentation style form so that we could present it to the school board, we could present it to the Shellfish Committee for Gouldsboro, and we used that data to figure out what location we really want to put all these different seed clams in. This data is being used for a lot of real things that wouldn't have ever happened if it weren't for Pathways helping out.
We recognized pretty soon that what we needed to have was a lot more young clams, 1-year-old clams, to put out on the flats.
Downeast Institute obviously has been a real good source for our local communities to buy seed clams. We could buy 100,000 a year or something like that, and that really wasn't going to replenish the flat, so we started spitballing ideas around about what it would take for us to be able to buy clams cheaper, because Kyle told us that we could buy smaller clams cheaper, and what it would take for us to be able to raise our own clams to seed the flats at a cheaper price.
Mike says, so I have a crazy idea, and the crazy idea was, could we actually maybe do this on our own, what DEI is doing in a big facility. And
so it kind of spawned this idea, I guess.
When the clams are spawned in one spring, it's pretty easy to grow them out over the summer. The problem is keeping them alive over the winter. You really can't put them in the mud after that first summer. Survival would be pretty bad. The question was not, first off, can we do it? Because we're pretty sure that we could keep them over the winter. The key question was, can we do it economically?
As we were sort of starting to figure out how we were going to build these upwellers or these nursery trays and how we were really going to get this lab up and running technically, I had the opportunity to go down to Jonesport Beals and visit the Downeast Institute. We were super fortunate to have Kyle Pepperman give us a full-scale tour of the nursery, the hatchery, and their facilities, which are pretty incredible. And they have given us the opportunity to really learn about how these things work and how they're built.
So what you have here is we have our nursery trays, We figure there's approximately 105,000 in those 10 trays. Next year, hopefully we'll get the students and be able to find a couple students that will help us put them in, make some measurements, and so that we can graph the growth in here compared to the growth in the upweller inside.
Not only is the lab itself experimental, but we can bring in learners and we can bring in early career scientists and say, this is really what science is about. We don't know the answers. And we've been afforded this opportunity by really generous funders and by the Downeast Institute to take this project on, not only for the town of Gouldsboro, but as a model for other towns.
Other municipalities keep asking us about, whether it's going to work or not. And I hope that if it does, that I hope other municipalities get an opportunity to find a location like this. We were very fortunate that Dana Rice allowed us to put this in. I mean, it's going to be a great asset to the community and a great asset to the school to be able to have this opportunity to have the students here and work, and it'll benefit the clamming in town.
For me individually, I've really struggled with academics and just having the confidence to go through with projects like this because I've never been sure about being able to do it. But through this project, I really figured out that I'm good with data, I'm good with math, and I have the ability to do the presentations that I didn't think I could. So there was a lot of helping the community with this, but this helped me a lot personally as well.
I can't say this enough. If we were not all cooperating and using the skills that we have and brought them to the table, none of this would be as successful as it is right now. I mean, I just get excited when I think about the partners. I say the partners in crime that I have, because we are a good group. And I'm excited to see this work. Very excited.